It's the TEFL Express podcast, brought to you by TEFL Express, your partner in the world of teaching English as a foreign language. For all the latest and greatest in the world of TEFL training and materials, please visit our website at teflexpress.co.uk. Enjoy the show!
Before we begin, can I get you just to give me a little bit of background about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm 28 from Ireland. I mean, I've always wanted to travel. I've always wanted to kind of move around. And years ago, I got this idea into my head. I wanted to live and work on every continent.
Okay.
That kind of started with, in Ireland, we get a what's called a J1, a student visa. So we can go to the States and we can live in the States for 3 to 4 months during the summer. Did that. I went to San Francisco the first time. And I mean, to be honest, at the time I was happy enough at home, but a few friends of mine were going and they said come along, so I went along, and it was the first time I'd lived abroad by myself, and I loved it. 2 years later, I wanted to go the following year again. I wanted to go back and do it while I was still a student, but I couldn't because of my studies. So 2 years later I went to New York, and then that's where I came up with the idea of really wanting to travel the world.
You know, you've really kind of spanned the globe already as far as different locations go. Which location would you say was your best experience? Like, which one did you really enjoy the most, if there is even one that you enjoyed the most?
That's one that it's hard to say. You know, as a traveller, when you move so much, you kind of find yourself, you love a place, but you can never get enough of, moving on and trying to find somewhere else.
Right.
I have moved around quite a bit, trying to chase the continent dream. I lived in the States, I lived in South Korea, Czech Republic, Laos, Chile, Brazil, back in Ireland on and off in between then, currently in China. I would say I love Brazil. I love South America.
South America, I've never been there, but everything I've seen looks completely beautiful, and it's definitely somewhere on my list I want to go. Definitely want to go there at some point to several places, if not, I mean, I'd love to see all of it, really. But what about it? What about it did you like? What did you really, what draws you to it then?
Sure, yeah. I mean, South America was really a big one for me. Yeah, definitely the continent in the whole. I was always interested in Spanish. I've always loved the Spanish language, and I never got the opportunity to learn when I was in school. So when I went to South America, it was great to finally be immersed in Spanish language and also Latin culture. I really like Latin culture. Just the people are very friendly. The weather is good. I don't know. It's just a very kind of warm. The people are very warm. Argentina, I mean, I lived in Chile and Brazil, but I traveled through Argentina for a month. Mm-hmm. And again, the people are so different in each country, but yet they all have the same kind of values. And they're all very welcoming. Brazil is beautiful, the beaches, the weather, women.
When you were there, were you just traveling, or did you actually teach while you were there?
I left Chile in January 2011, mm-hmm. And my idea was to travel across Argentina for a month with a friend, and then hit Brazil, where I was going to get a teaching position. It's very, very difficult from my experience from trying, and I have a lot of experience now from looking online and going through contacts and stuff to look for a job in TEFL. And in Brazil, it's very difficult to find a decent one or a well-paid one or something like that. You have to do a lot of research or know what you're looking for. So I had a friend living there. She helped me out with her school. But it ended up, when I got to Brazil anyway, there was miscommunication. My emails weren't coming through, and so I thought the school had bailed out me and had just stopped contacting me. So I ended up getting a job in a bar there in a hostel. I got to meet a lot of different people, different walks of life, hear where they were coming from and where they were going to, and I made a lot of friends.
I suppose too in a hostel as well, right? Like, so you're going to constantly meet other travelers coming to and from.
Absolutely, yeah, and everyone's kind of on the same route, or everyone's able to give each other ideas or tips, so I could give them my experience, they could tell me things. So yeah, it was a great place, and where I lived in a place called Florianópolis, which is a little island just off Brazil, and it's paradise. I mean, it's called the Portuguese for it is Ilha de Magia, which means magic island, and it's just beach after beach, and it's a real destination for all the Argentinians go for holiday too.
Wow, so then that must be quite a change then, coming from like a tropical kind of island like you'd find in Brazil, like to compare to like now you're in southern China, so it's really a completely different kind of environment, really, I would think. What led you then to China?
After Brazil, I went back to Ireland.
Oh, okay.
I had always planned on moving on again. To be honest, I had planned to move from Brazil up to do more of South America, but more Middle America, kind of Colombia. I've always wanted to see Colombia. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Right.
So I went back to Ireland for a little bit, and when I got back, I decided I'd give it an attempt back home. I was never very big on staying in Ireland, but going back, I said I'd give it a shot. And obviously, the recession is now in Ireland, so it's quite difficult to get a job there. The whole thing of you need experience to get work, you need work to get experience, and